Welcome back to Trekyards, guys. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Carl Kongs, and it is Saturday, and we got another brand new ship, brand new shuttle, or at least warp-capable smaller vessel, in this last episode of Discovery. What is it, Stuart, and what do you think?
Well, it's a very logical ship, and it's logical that we should cover it here today.
Sure.
Does that give you any hints at all?
It's a Riemann ship.
No. It is a Vulcan transport shuttle. I'm not sure if it's a shuttle or a transport or whatever it is.
What's the context of the scene then? Actually, give us some indication of what sort of ship it is.
Well, Sarek and an aide are going on a diplomatic mission to actually try to barter peace with the Klingons. So, 2 personnel on a small ship. I would say some kind of scout ship or transport, to be honest, or a diplomatic shuttle. I mean, that could be a thing, especially for the Vulcans. So yeah.
My gut reaction to what this ship is there's a secret mission then going on that only the highest ranking officers say that they know about. So my guess is that it's probably one of the fastest small ships of the Vulcan fleet. You know, it's a shuttle, but it's their A to B. You need to get there sort of ship.
A to B in a hurry ship.
Yeah. Which works. I mean, that might say to them it's slightly different design cues, but obviously this was at the start of the episode. But Stuart, what was your first reaction to this shuttle? And we do get a nice look at the outside, inside, the whole shebang.
When I first saw it, from the side, I was kind of like, eh. But then as they kind of got some different views of it, you got to see very stylistic Vulcan shapes. Like the warp ring is still kind of intact there. And I thought, well, it's a very interesting design. It was a little less smooth than I would have liked or would have expected from the Vulcans. It almost seems like it's got extraneous stuff that really the Vulcans wouldn't have. Or if they did, it would be covered and hidden a little bit better. Because we're used to have a more smooth look for them. So, but overall, it looks pretty cool. And I do like the fact that they maintained the warp ring kind of design.
Yeah, it's worth saying that the Vulcan aesthetic is kind of a weird one.
It is.
You know, we get a sort of maybe possibly but not really Vulcan shuttle in Star Trek Motion Picture. Then we get a Vulcan transport in TNG, and then we don't get anything until Enterprise, and we get everything in Enterprise. We get like 8 ships. And lots of ground vehicles, and they're all, the first one was done by Doug Drexler, then John Eves fleshed them out.
And Star Trek 6, we got the T-Planet Hoth, which is a different design altogether.
Well, First Contact, yeah, exactly. That was an early, and that was a very unique craft. So the design has very much stayed just as red and sort of smooth, and warp ring has been a good continuing factor, but they're pretty varied, and I don't know what I would think of as being a Vulcan aesthetic, honestly. If I was being if you're asking me before Enterprise what was a Vulcan aesthetic, there's not really anything to pull from. And they're alien race. I mean, the only thing you could say is their ears. Maybe there's some pointier shapes, but again, that's kind of racist in its own way. It's like, why should it link to their ears? The only thing you can say is that they're very logical. They're not there for beauty or prettiness. That I would assume you're right. That'd be smooth hull, nothing extraneous. Very simple but very powerful. That sort of stuff. So this shape, this shuttle, side view, I was like, eh. The problem is now we're expecting incorrect design choices from the ships. We're expecting things that don't fit properly. So I took this as like, oh yeah, it's just another generic. I mean that side view looks like a beak. Looks like a crow's face, and that's weird and random. But then, as you said, as the thing goes on, that back view actually is exceptionally Vulcan, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So it's interesting how it sort of doubles up on the super random and then also super faithful. And
it's not necessarily. It could be that it's not necessarily a Vulcan ship. It could be another ship of the Federation, one of the many Federation member worlds that just happens to be there at the time, or was perhaps sent to them by Starfleet. I don't know. And it's definitely not a Starfleet design, but I'm just saying it could be like a Tellarite or something else. A lot of members of the Federation. Maybe just faster than anything that they had at the time. I don't know.
it was a hull of something else that they've retrofitted with a warp ring. I mean, that's obviously pushing. The logical option is that it's obviously a Vulcan design, and the ships we see in Enterprise are all very smooth, all very some pointy shapes. But like, I think if it was the same shape but smoothed out completely, given some more curves, it'd be simpler, obviously. But I think it'd work a lot better.
Yeah.
This way, it looks too much like just a beak of a bird. Like what I'm thinking to myself, we know where the cockpit is. It's that top bit with a window.
Yeah.
Great, awesome. Why is there so much going forward that isn't? It's a lot of physical area that you would think would be nice and compact and part of the hull, and why is there so much plating that's it doesn't have a very Vulcan feel.
Well, the Vulcans need their hot tubs, as we've talked about with Doug Drexler. So maybe that's the hot tub room at the front there.
I think you must be. Yes, you are absolutely correct.
Yes, yes, as I tend to be.
Deary me.
But no, it's not a very big transport, as you can see. So not a lot of people for sure. I'd say maybe 5 or 6 at the maximum for as far as comfort goes. And here we actually get a shot of the interior as well, with both of them standing there. I love the interior. It does feel very Vulcan to me. Very clean lines. The colors are a nice gold or coppery color, which kind of ties in the red hue of Vulcan. And the wood paneling and stuff, not that it's wood paneling, but the wood appearance at the top looks very nice and neat. And I think if I had to guess what a Vulcan interior would look like, I would go with something like this. So,
well, it's kind of the opposite to Discovery. It's warm colors, it's bright, it's clean, it's simple. It looks, appealing. You could easily sit down there and be in. It's even got little references to TOS in the sense those white lights on the side, referencing the shuttle bay a little bit. That's what I see when I see that. It's kind of those.
Oh yeah.
Simple lights. But yeah, no, like I said, I love the wood paneling. I agree. I'm trying to work out the placement of this of how it all fits, because they're both stand either side. Are there chairs? Is that middle bit a walk round console, or is it very much 2 spots both standing? I don't know.
That's a good question. It does look like it's just standing room only.
Yeah.
There's another shot too where there's like the hallway leading up to that room, which is dark. It's darker, but you can't really see much else. There's a lot of lighting on the floor. It looks like a club.
Yeah, they like their reflective surfaces, and it seems a bit wasteful in a sense having that much glass. And I'm also that the beam surprised me. It's such a waste of space. I mean, I know there is artistic stylings like that in the J.J. Abrams films. I believe that those catacombs or whatever they've run into, Spock does try and save the council. It's got a similar sort of patterning, so I guess it is a Vulcan aesthetic, but it does feel kind of wasteful in those amount of space. And you're right, all those lights at the back again. It's an yeah.
I was going to say that I really like the display, the heads-up display. It's see-through, but. So it's not just pop-up holographics, which again are cool in their own right, but this is not the window per se that they're projected on. This is more of a monitor that's set back further by the console.
Well, if you look at how in one of the pictures it's actually past the windows, you can see there's actually 2 planes of glass.
Yeah.
There's one that's the front, which has got these marks on. Then the holograms, at least one layer looks to be on the one that's close up to them. So I think double layer. And we know. See, the thing about the Vulcans have had holograms. We see them in Enterprise, that big holographic table. We know that's a tech they have. So I'm totally fine with them having this sort of tech. It's strange when it comes to Star Trek because there's all different races, all different things. It's difficult when each of them evolutionary lines, such as like, what do you link to?
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask, when we see that unfortunate shot of the chap, he started to explode himself, spoilers, you see this great view of the console. What on earth are those bits, those triangle pieces on top of the console? The decoration? Those big built-up things?
I think they're probably like data crystals or storage devices, different control mechanisms that you take off there, stick in, and you can transfer data with them, like a nice linear rod or something. Much like it's like Superman's crystal that he's got all of his father's words of wisdom on, because it's got that same kind of shape, and it looks like something that I think the Vulcans would do. They're pens. I don't know.
Styluses to use the touch screen. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. But do you want to get into some canonical specifics here, Stuart? Because it does actually... Well, okay. So, we mentioned the window, mentioned the back. What's interesting is that we did actually see a lot of Vulcan ships in Enterprise. We saw two different types of warship, a fighter, a transport, a shuttle, and a survey ship. Quite a plethora. And in fact, I've done some new renders. In fact, if you go to the Vulcan Shuttle, the front shot, which is... If this is also a Vulcan Shuttle, that's the direct line of evolution. This one actually does have a window.
Yeah, okay. It makes sense for a shuttle, and that's obviously a small shuttle, like much like Galileo size, 4 to 6 people, well, crammed right in. I think it's a lot smaller than the other one. And even all the shuttles in Star Trek have had windows, which I don't have a problem with. So, yeah, but then when you start scaling up to the bigger ships, it's not something that Star Trek has really done.
But I guess the question there, though, is that this also has a ring. It would be odd for it to have an impulse ring. So my assumption is that the Vulcans are advanced enough to have warp technology. So if this is also a shuttle, it has a warp ring, has a window, then we know the default shuttle format. And if this is also a shuttle, then it should also have those things. If that's the one line we can look at. And in terms of design, it's not close particularly, but I mean, there's not that much design to be taken from it. There's a couple of other ways it is actually closer. If you look at the Vulcan transport, which is one that you don't like as much, I love it because the half ring mentality. And again, not someone you'd think of as a Vulcan design, but hey, if you look at the back view of that ship, Vulcan Enterprise transport ship, in fact, comparing that to the one we see in this episode, you've got those half ring warp rings, and the impulse drives are almost identical to this shuttle, almost identical. And so as soon as I saw it back, I was like, that is familiar. So there is a distinct link to the technology, and obviously this is, the 80, 90, 100 years difference, but it's nice to see that, where you're going to put them there, what shape you're going to have them, that works just fine.
Yeah.
About that, Stuart. Did you think of that when you saw it, or was that more of a me, because I've seen all the ships a bit too much?
That's what my mind went to when I saw the shape of the warp rings and the impulse engines, like you said, something similar to this. I didn't realize how close it was till we actually look at the photos. But it's the front of the transport as well. Even a lot of the shapes there, kind of the stepping shapes and just more extraneous stuff. The other ones seem a lot more smooth, a lot more refined. So this transport really ties in well with what we see in Discovery there. So
obviously, teeny shuttle, which we see, launch and take off and just fly around the planetary body. It's not, we don't ever see it fly through space. It's not that sort of shuttle. Whereas this transport, a lot bigger, a lot more functional. So you've got these 2 levels of ship. This is obviously in between, but maybe if it's meant to be this fast, ultra, usable ship, why wouldn't it link to the bigger ship in terms of tech and stepping? And definitely with those pincers, I mean, there is certainly a bit more precedence all of a sudden for those pointier shapes. Yeah. And if you go to Vulcan Trekyards class again, you can see that has got sort of stepping, sort of greebling, but in sort of the big sense, all different armor plating. And the back view again, you've got impulse engines. In fact, you've got that secondary ship inside of that, which does actually have impulse engines, has those little warp rings, has those points that stick out. You can see again parallels here. It's certainly its own take, and I wish the front had been smoother of this new ship. That would have linked it a lot better. But as soon as you compare it to those, this isn't that far off. I mean, if you retextured this thing with the red palette, smooth out some of the shapes, put it next to it, you wouldn't. You'd think it was as close as the shuttle is to the transport is to the Trekyards. I mean, they all fit in the same fleet.
Yeah.
Although obviously, if this was in the TOS era, if there's been 60s design, you'd have painted it, whiter colours or simpler shapes. I'd love to see like a TOS version of this, really fitting into the era, as opposed to sort of the hyper detailed version that we're going to have to get because of the modern era.
Yeah. I think you're right. It ties in visually enough for me to be a Vulcan ship, but subtle little changes I think would just be that much better. I mean, they're obviously wanting to go for something new, something of their own design, which is fine. Um, but it could be too that it's an older ship, or like I said, another Federation member world that just it happened to be there at the time. And this treaty or peace negotiation was probably like a last minute kind of we need to get this done. So it could be the only ship available. We don't know for sure.
Quadrant.
No. We're not 100% sure that it's a Vulcan ship, but I'm like 80% sure it's a Vulcan ship.
It is worth saying that because obviously this is the ship they've built, and we do see several of these ships landed in the flashbacks when Burnham is graduating from the Science Academy. So,
that's true too. Yeah,
it is a ship that is in widespread. There is another one flying around in this scene somewhere.
So ignore what I said. It's definitely a Vulcan ship.
But like you pointed out, with the Federation, designs are being so disseminated. Why wouldn't you use good designs from other races? I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't use Andorian tech because they don't like Andorians. But,
Yeah, it could be, too, that it's not a Vulcan military ship. It could be a Vulcan civilian ship or a diplomatic corps or something that's different design.
Exactly, because the transport ship and the shuttle are not military. Those are both civilian. Whereas the Trekyards are obviously this bigger ship. Although they mentioned the exploratory corps.
The Vulcan Expeditionary Force.
Thank you. Do they have a military? Is the Expeditionary Force also where their big tactical ships are? Because the Starfleet is not our military per se.
Yeah.
So if it's the same sort of thing, then would they not have the big heavy cruisers like we do?
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, I think you're right. The Expeditionary Force would be their military. There's also the Vulcan Science Academy, so I don't know if that's part of the Expeditionary Force.
But as they said, they went from the Science Academy, graduated to the Expeditionary Force. So I'm assuming it's like Starfleet Academy.
I know, but this is the first time we've ever heard of the Vulcan Expeditionary Force. This was added for Discovery. Before Sarek was upset that Spock didn't join this Vulcan Science Academy. He went and started Starfleet instead. So
I assumed that was the end of the line as well.
Yeah. So it's hard to say. I think it definitely is a Vulcan design, but whether it's the standard military or more of a civilian diplomatic corps kind of craft is still up in the air. But there are quite a few of them floating around, so it could be that they're more of a civilian kind of everyday hopper between.
Or it just could be, I mean, we see them flying around here and in the graduation, so they could just be high-ranking officials, very advanced, fast personal transport. Why would he go with if he's a diplomat that goes all the time? Why would he use any other craft but his own personal one?
Yeah, they're the Learjets of the Vulcan fleet, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would kind of make sense. Yeah. But again, it's worth saying if you took away the warp ring, not Vulcan in the slightest, and the impulse engines. I mean, no. Just like the D7, if you pull out, nothing, as there's the Klingon design. But if you pull out from the sarcophagus ship the engine modules. There's things that at least the Federation ships have got a similar aesthetic. Take this out, it's not remotely, but once you include them, you can see again. There's hundred years of design change and different styles and whatever. But yeah, will be easy to prime this one. Will be very easy, and I do quite like the half ring with a big space. Oh no, actually, if you look at the picture 3, is it all connected at the bottom? Is it like a horseshoe at the bottom rather than two halves?
I believe it is connected at the bottom, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, that's a new way of the ring. It's a new variation.
Even if you look at picture 2 with it, working from the front, it does look like it does appear that it does join. So yeah,
that's cool. Okay, yeah,
and the front in picture number 2 looks like the front of some sci-fi blasters and guns. Anyway.
Or that train in Mad Max, or those ramming trains. I mean, it looks like a train with a warp ring.
Yeah, it's a cow catcher. It's a cow catcher on the front for warp speed. You don't want to hit a cow. I guess that's.
What was the other ship that we said if we it's like the Klingon bird of prey? Take it. Allow the designers to have that freedom to make it feel more prime. Don't have the same criteria of want to make it look fresh, different, and really different. Give them a bit more freedom to look like the originals, like John Eves had. Like the Enterprise bird of prey, like Foley, and have it look like the original but more detailed. given that sort of freedom, and this in the Bird of Prey, you could easily pull back down something that would fit in like a glove, rather than being fit in like a glove to a 2017 version of a show, rather than a glove 2004 prequel, but you can retcon an easier version.
Fit like an OJ glove. If the glove doesn't fit, we must acquit. Anyway, on that reference, sorry guys, we are calling it quits for today's episode. I think.
I think I like the ship more after this review. I think.
I do too. I still wish there's a few things I'd like to change about it because it really bugs me. It's just that main blockiness at the front. But anyway, overall, a pretty good ship. Hopefully, you guys like it. I'd like to see more Vulcan ships for sure. Some of the big cruisers would be nice to see.
Absolutely, yeah. How they take that? I mean, I hope. So I do like the big ship designs from Enterprise. How would you take that?
Yeah.
Like kind of like a Star Destroyer if you take it. Anyway.
Although I can't see the Vulcans changing their design much, really. If it works, stay with it.
Well, presumably those ships are old anyway. I mean, this race is one of the older races that has that sort of technology. So, yeah.
But anyway, what do you guys think? Comment below. Do you like the ship? Do you not like the ship? Does it look Vulcan? Does it not look Vulcan? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video because that helps us out. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more analysis by us about the future Discovery episodes, which there's going to be plenty of. And don't forget to hit that bell notification icon if you want to get notified every time we upload.
And if you want to support this channel directly, not just for the little shows like the Trekyards weekly ship, but also the reviews, the analysis, the other great pilot things we're trying to do. You can support us in 2 amazing ways that really make a big difference. Either a one-time donation at trekyards.com, you click the donate button, you give a little bit, it's like a thank you or a tip, or just a good job guys, I want to help you do more. Or a regular Patreon donation, which is like a Netflix or a Hulu, but for YouTubers like us, you support a little bit, or a medium bit, or even $50 a month. We really appreciate it, and that really helps us have a budget for the show, keep the lights on, and make sure that we can continue to do this beyond the short term, but also the long term, because we love ships. I mean, there's so many more things we can do, but got to pay the bills and also improve, and you can't improve without more financing.
That's right. And don't forget to share the video around, of course, and join our Facebook pages. Just type in Trekyards on Facebook. We got a few groups, and there's a lot of great discussions going on there. So until next time, guys, we're Team Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Commander Kongs.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.